Hi, good morning to you. This is Atlantic Television Network, and of course, the program is Atlantic Blowout. And Atlantic Blowout is a syndicated live program of the network that features chit-chats and conversations on special interest topics, news, events, and stories through correspondence reports, expert opinion, and stakeholders analysis. Today, we have various topics on our table which we'll be discussing with our guests. We're having a guest in the studio with us, and we're having another guest via Zoom. We'll take a topic on the statement by the presidency, where a report says Tinubu limits ministers' convoy to 3. This topic is really hot out there. And from the National Assembly, Senate passes South-South Development Commission bill. From the National Assembly again, reps decry vandalization of power infrastructure. On judiciary, journalists persecuted over report on Akpabio's impeachment. On the cabinet rejig, I told you we'll have a development on this particular story today, and of course, reactions have been trailing that report. We didn't scrap Niger Delta Ministry statements by the federal government. And on security, we have reports that government arms ammunition with terrorists were stolen. A statement by the military. I'll let you know who my guest in the studio is and our guest via Zoom after the break. My name is Anidoye Jackson. Please stay with us.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water, and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats, and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women, and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors, and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
right, thank you so much for staying with us on Atlantic Television Network. The program is still Atlantic Blowout, and I am Enidoye Jackson. With me in the studio is Loveday Operum. He is the coordinator of the Agri-Graduate Association of Nigeria, River State chapter. Obviously, he is an agro expert and also a public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Loveday. Welcome.
Good morning, Eni. Thank you for having me.
All right. And we also have joining us via Zoom. He's also, that's Kenneth Eze actually. And Kenneth Eze is also the president and founder of the Enugu Young Farmers Association. And he's also a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Kenneth.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
How are you doing this morning, Kenneth?
I'm doing great. What about you?
All right, I'm doing great. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, there's a lot on our table for discussion for today, even though we're not focusing so much on agriculture like we usually do on Fridays, but there are topics that affect every single individual in Nigeria, and it is important that we lend our voices to talk about the way forward. Our very first story that we'll be looking at today is on the statement of the President, Tinubu, and this is something that some Nigerians have been calling for some time. And even during the protests, we had the End Bad Governance protest, we had people calling for the cut down in the cost of governance, and this looks like it. As part of measures to cut down the cost of governance, President Bola Tinubu has limited ministers and agencies' heads to 3 vehicles in their official convoys, with no extra vehicles permitted. The measure was announced in a statement that was signed by the president. Earlier this year, Tinubu reduced his foreign trip entourage from 50 to 20 officials and total local trips to 25. Similarly, the Vice President's entourage was also reduced to 5 officials for foreign trips and 15 for local engagement. The directive also caps security personnel for ministers at 5. Right? So ministers are now entitled to 5 security personnel, including, please carry 5 security personnel at the moment. All right, including 4 police officers and 1 DSS officer. The National Security Advisor has been tasked with reviewing vehicle and personnel allocations for military and paramilitary agencies. You know, this last part of the story reminds me of some Nigerians that have been saying things like, we have limited
Security
hands.
personnel.
Yes, in security outfits, right? And then people have always looked at the ministers and said, how many security personnel are allocated to just 1 minister? And then we're hearing that it has been reduced, but hey, to 5. Is that still something that should be touched? What is your thought on all of this?
Very well. I must commend our president for being proactive in this area. It has been a very long time cry. The masses have been lamenting that the cost of governance should be considered, and here we are. The president has decided to deal decisively with it by also making it public. And at times, some of these things are announced indoor and without the public, being aware of what has been resolved internally, and thereby making it very difficult for those that are supposed to implement some of those actions, and then for the public to also checkmate them. It makes it difficult. It's very, you find it difficult to balance some of those things. But in this case, the president has been able to announce it. It's in public domain, so we can now monitor our ministers, checkmate them, and then also inform the government what is happening, what their ministers or what the ministers are doing. On a general note, I must commend the president for this particular gesture, even if, for me, as a person, in my own personal opinion, 5 is still much. It's 1 head. Minister is just 1 person, and then 5 security personnel when we have limited number of, security personnel. If let's say, for instance, 4 ministers have engagement on a particular day, that means 25 or 20 security personnel will be off in order to provide the security for 4 ministers. So we still need to do something. The president needs to do something. Once the needful is being done, once there is security, once the issue of insecurity is being tackled seriously, believe me, 2 security personnel can aid them or can provide security to a minister, even 1. But the fear that the government is having is because the economy is harsh, the environment is harsh, that insecurity, sense of insecurity is still there. Otherwise, there is no need for 5 security personnel. However, we commend the presidency, especially on the area of the number of vehicles. That's the one that caught my interest and my attention so much. The number of vehicles that has been reduced to 3 is something that Nigerians should be happy about, and then commend Mr. President very seriously.
So you don't think the number 3 is too small or too much? Like you think the number 5 is too much for the security personnel?
The 3 vehicle is okay. Yes, it's okay, because if a minister is going out or a government functionary operating at that level, needs people to accompany him. You don't need the entire community. You don't need the whole local government to accompany you. 10 persons, 8 persons accompanying the minister on an official movement is okay.
Let's bring Kenneth Easy into this conversation. Kenneth, I want to find out what your own thoughts are, whether they are contrary or they're in agreement with Loveday. All right, we'll bring Kenneth in once he's able to come up again, since his network over there is not so friendly. But then on this particular topic, there have been a lot of reactions from Nigerians, cut down the cost of governance, and it's looking like that's what is being done, even though some people still feel like, nah, it is not enough, this is not what we asked for. And everybody would always look back at the petroleum industry. Yeah. Even with the cabinet rejig and all of that, people are still asking what is going on with the petrol. Why did we not hear anything happening there? Because that looks like the bedrock. That looks like the foundation of most of the problems that we're having. If you ask some Nigerians, when did this issue start with this administration, they'll tell you it started immediately it was announced that subsidy was removed. Yeah. And that was when all of this started. And then down to all the cases we have had, the increase in prices of goods, and the hardship we're talking about, anyone would always channel it down to the petroleum sector. But then let's look at the National Assembly. We have a lot coming from the National Assembly in the news today. Senate on Thursday passed the South-South Development Commission bill, aiming to establish a body responsible for managing funds from the Federation account, donations and grants to address infrastructural deficits, ecological issues, militancy, and communal crisis in the region. This bill by Senator Asuku Ekpeong, APC Cross River South, and co-sponsored by senators from the South-South. Additionally, the Senate passed amendments to the acts governing the Northwest, Southeast, and Southwest Development Commissions, incorporating provisions for geopolitical representation. The resolutions followed recommendations from the Committee on Special Duties, chaired by Senator Kaka Shehu. Yes, National Assembly, Senate passes South-South Development Commission bill. You have seen just a few, because I've mentioned a few of the things that this bill would, carry out, how it's going to benefit the people of the region and all of that. You're a South-South man, you're a resident, you're also a resident of the South-South. So let's get your thoughts on this bill.
Okay, for me, I'm yet to see any sharp difference between the South-South Development Commission bill and that of the Niger Delta Development Commission. I'm yet to see a very sharp difference from what has been said by the President or by the Senate. If the South-South Development bill, if the idea behind it is to manage, fund or allocation from the Federation account and all of that, what was the function of NDDC? I think the problem there is management. Is management and monitoring. Ensure that what this particular parastatals or commission has been mandated to do are being done by the relevant personnel manning those. So a problem I have with the new bill that has just been established is the name. Is the name, the nomenclature.
the name.
Yes, the name, the South, whereas the other one is Niger Delta. How do we reconcile this? How do we reconcile? Because I know that Niger Delta is made up of about 9 states, and then we now have the South. So the other 3 states that are now being excluded, or that ideally will be excluded from the South Development Commission B, where would those particular those states, where are they going to fall in? Where are we going to categorize them? So we still need, there is a lot to be released to the public so that we understand what this bill is all about and what it tends to achieve. If you ask me, I want to believe that the idea behind this bill is majorly political. It has higher level of political undertone and interest rather than focusing on the masses. Because if the masses were to be all the supposed beneficiaries are to be the target, then it would have, fine-tuned internally the NDDC, and then not to change the name. So,
but people have been calling for the scrap of the NDDC. People have been saying a lot about the NDDC not giving what it was intended for.
Yeah, if you're scrapping NDDC, that should be done. But remember, there was a statement.
Agree with that?
Yeah, there was a statement that NDDC is still there. That's my problem. That NDDC has not been scrapped. So why bring in the South Development Commission that will now oversee? They said it's a regional-based stuff that will now oversee the activities of NDDC. That's like, for me, that's like a duplication of responsibility, which I know in no distant time will also cause internal crisis and even generate, because the implication of this, from what I perceive, if at the end of the day, the resources that are supposed to be used to develop the Niger Delta is no longer coming the way it should flow in because of this particular bill that has now been established, believe me, we're going to have some form of agitation and all of that, and it may in turn increase the insecurity in the region. So this should be properly fine-tuned, and let the parastatal, let those involved, let the zone, let the region understand what this particular new commission tends to.
So the problem is not that this is being created. The problem is that there's no understanding of the intention. That's what you're saying.
Yes, for me, that is the major problem.
But you already talked about the fact that it's looking like a duplication.
Yeah, it's looking like a duplication from my own assessment and perception. Still boils down to the issue of understanding, because it's not yet clear enough. But I don't want to believe that President Tinubu's administration at this particular point in time will want to, duplicate ministry or agencies or commission, going by what the economy is already, what Nigerians are already passing through. So that's my own personal assessment or perception.
With what is going on in the South, and all of these commissions and these parastatals that have been set up to, solve some of these issues in the South, probably because of the agitations that were there before and all of that, we're still having the issues. We're still having the cases of communities not even seeing power for years. We're having, like you have said, insecurity. We're having cases of communities not benefiting from
basic social amenities. They're
not even benefiting from the companies that are in their communities, contrary to the MOU that was signed. Probably those companies and all of when they get to look at the PIA, the provision of the PIA and all of these things are still not being met. Yet we have this, we have that commission, we have this agency,
you see, Annie,
all of this set up for the Niger Delta and the South.
That's the reason you hear or see some persons agitating that the commission should be scrapped. That's the reason. The issue of greed has eaten into our system up to the extent that even people are ready to allow a particular system or community or a people to be consumed.
Greed on whose side now?
The leadership, those managing the affairs. This is a commission that has been set up, and people has been assigned to oversee or to manage the resources, earmarked for to run that particular commission. How effective? How are these people using the resources? And some of our people too, some of our governors, the states that fall. That's the Niger Delta Development Commission states that belong to the Niger Delta zone. How effective are the governments, the state government? What's their synergy? What's their partnership? How are they also ensuring that the resources are being judiciously utilized? So many things goes behind the scenes. So many things happens underground. For instance, for the past 1 year or 2 years in my own area, in our state here, you see the project that NDDC has been embarking upon, electrification project, solar light system, solar project. And some of the places where they put this solar light, you'll be asking yourself, did they carry out kind of research, to ascertain what the people want?
Wow.
For you to do a development project, you should employ bottom-top approach. You don't stay in the office and then, come up with a particular project that will benefit those that are to execute it rather than the beneficiaries. And then you come to the ground and say, we are running solar system for you people, whereas the people have major road network problem, which also fall within the ambit or jurisdiction of the commission to handle. And then people are asking questions. So that is the problem. Those that are in charge of this commission, especially the NDDC, they have not been living or operating up to expectation. And when you see people lament, when you see people agitate that the NDDC should be scrapped, it's simply because what the commission was designed to accomplish or to implement or carry out, the people are not seeing it. And rather you see exorbitant, the quotation, the kind of money you hear that they usually release for certain projects, you begin to ask yourself, where are the projects? Where are the projects? I've also been involved in one, as a community liaison officer, one NDDC project. I saw and I was able to, see some things that goes on, how the quotations are being made and how the cuttings are being done before the thing will finally get to the contractor, and you see the contractor lamenting on the field. So that is the problem.
So
not that the idea behind NDDC is bad. It's not bad, but to those manning it. And that is why we keep advocating for good leadership, good governance. If the system is not working, then those that makes the appointment should be able to, as quickly as possible, reshuffle and change the system. Don't allow the people to die. Don't allow resources to be wasted, before the reshuffling will take place.
We'll talk about the reshuffling of the system and the changes that you have clamored for or that you have recommended. Do we have Kenneth back online?
Yes.
All right, Kenneth, welcome again.
Thank you.
I don't know how long you have been with us. If you have heard the conversation that we're talking about currently, we're talking about the Senate passing the South-South Development Commission bill. And I'd like to get your thoughts on this one.
Okay. The commission bill, South-South Development Commission bill, according to what the speculation is that they want it to really get down to all the regions. So many talks have been like what the guest there is talking about, that if they actually do something for the region, it should be other regions should at least feel that sense of belonging, feel that, okay, we are part of Nigeria, we are one Nigeria, we are really getting the dividends of democracy. We are really feeling it, and everything should be made transparent. Okay? Before now, when we got to this topic, we are talking about using the security personnel of the ministers and all that. My take there that it is not necessarily doing that. It's good, but there is something, like he said, good from bottom top. We should not treat these things at the surface level. We should go deeper. The citizens need to feel safe. You can get all the security personnel, you can reduce them, you can get all those things, but if they don't feel safe, then I don't think you have actually done much. Everything boils down to character, to honesty, transparency. So, and all these things will not lead to good development, something substantial. It's a good one, but let's just watch. I believe that with this, all the regions, not only South-South, we cannot get other regions to actually feel okay, we are part of this conflict, part of what is happening in Nigeria. Thank you.
All right, but on this particular topic now, when we're talking about the South and some of the things that the youths or the people of the South have been agitating for, and some of the responses that we have seen from the government, the commission that have been provided to settle and solve some of these problems. At the end of the day, our guest here, Loveday, has said that the leadership is the problem. But let's also look at the people now. Sometimes it looks like some people are just agitating for their pockets. And when certain funds are released to them, you don't hear their voices anymore. And it begs the question, what exactly were we even agitating for? Do you see that unity of purpose in the people of the South region when they talk about the ills in their communities?
Yeah, I already said it. That is a stomach infrastructure. Just make it nothing. People actually feel that once they get this, everybody that's coming behind them should be on their own. I think, like I always say, that people don't get fully. Yes, there's no. I don't see strong quotation between the people of this region. This stuff, the followers, they need to hold leaders accountable. There's no unity of purpose, one, and that unity is not actually felt strongly. I feel that the leader leading them is really actually carrying the power along. Okay? What he said, I not what a lot of people said, but everything, Malcolm said that everything rises and falls on leadership. Okay, so once the leader gets it right, the followers get it. But you have said, the followers don't have a duty to play, they have a role to play. Everybody has a role to play. They should actually know what's happening with whatever plans, needs, events, and stuff is due. Very important. They really need to be carried along, then they need to hold their leaders accountable. Then everybody has a part to play. There should be sincerity of purpose, that is number one. Someone can come and say, he is a leader, yet he is fighting for his benefits. So once that one comes, then followers are stronger. They move back to agitating for something. And you see, you have leaders. Sometimes these leaders that they have, I think they are untouchable. Nobody asks them any question. You don't ask them. You don't demand accountability or transparency. I think this thing just goes up to all members and the that is just.
All right, Kenneth, thank you. Loveday, during the last End Bad Governance protest, we were told that the unifying factor was hunger. So hunger is able to unify. So that means the issues and the ills that we have here should be enough to unify us. But what do you think about the unity among the youths and the purpose that they're trying to drive?
You see, it will be very much difficult to have that unity of purpose when the head is already corrupt, when the head is not okay. You see, that's why we keep talking about character. People, government should, those that are the helm of our affair, those that God has placed, at a top leadership position, they should look out for people of integrity, people that has character, to man-sensitive
we're looking
position.
at the people now.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. There is something, a picture I want to paint. Okay. Now, if I am the leader of, or the head of a particular parastatal, and I'm not corrupt, I believe in development. Of course, maybe I'm to man a development institution. I believe in development. I believe in seeing my people, live a better life. Do you think that I will easily be influenced when a particular group of persons comes to me and say, I love the we are aware that the government has approved so and so amount of money. Please, I will know the standard of the project you're supposed to do is, let's say 50 by, let me rank between 1 to 100, let's say 50 or 60. Please do execute 30, collect 10, and give us the remaining 10. We are good to go. If I don't subscribe to such, I will chase those people out of my office. I will do the right thing and have the moral stand to make any public statement. There is no amount of agitation. There is no amount of protest that they will do that will affect me. But because we have leaders that are greedy, we have leaders without character, we have people without integrity that are manning some positions as a result of let's just compensate them for what they have done. Positions There are sensitive positions that shouldn't be given to people because they supported you during election. There are positions that should be given. But when it comes to, parastatals commission that are set up to ensure that the livelihood, the life of the people, the standard of living of the people are being enhanced. You look out for people that has integrity. You look out for people that has character, people that will not be easily influenced. Yes, we know there is no human being that is 100% perfect. But there are people that you will assign certain responsibility. You can go back to rest. You can go to sleep. You will be rest assured that at least they will execute 70% of what, or 80 of what has been given to them to execute. So the people, in this case of development, especially the Niger Delta issue, or the NDDC, the Niger Delta Development Commission, I don't see the people to be the major problem. Even if the people has a role to play, but believe me, the economy is hard. If I agitate and then make noise, and the person that is supposed to even correct me and then stand against what I'm pushing for, the person is also in that same shoe, what do you expect? Once they settle me, I will move out. And then also talk to other people. You can go and agitate, and then they will settle you behind the scene.
But that's where the bigger problem is.
That's the bigger problem. So who solves the problem?
Leadership is the problem, right?
Yes.
And the people have unity. They can easily fight for what they want. Do you understand? But if there's no unity among the people, there's still bad eggs among the people. Who then calls the leadership to order? Talking
about unity in this sense has to do with power. Before people can be united to fight this kind of cause, the people, their stomach must be healthy. The people must be satisfied. And the people can actually take care of
themselves. But they are not satisfied. That's why they are fighting for what they want.
Now you see, is a complicated issue, because those that has the power, those that has the voice among the majority, you see, they are still minute. They are of the minority. So once they go and they are set, since the public you're expecting to push through don't have that power, they don't have the voice. So you see the same set of people, doing the abnormal things, the wrong things, and then still going away. But if the system is stabilized, it's balanced, up to the point that at least up to 50 to 60% of a particular population can take a decision, stand by what they have said, stand by their conviction without being moved. Believe me, these things can be checkmated. But in a situation where out of 100, only 20 or 10 can actually take a stand, decide on something and stand, the rest of them will only be following sheepishly. So it's a difficult situation. It's a difficult situation.
That becomes a problem also. Thank you, Loveday. Let's look at the next story. We have reports of the House of Representatives on Thursday urging the federal government to adopt technology-driven measures like drones and CCTV cameras to protect power infrastructure nationwide. This call followed a motion led by Honorable Sani Umar Bala addressing the frequent vandalism of transmission lines, including recent damage of the 330 kV Shiroro-Kaduna transmission lines, causing blackout in parts of Kaduna and Kano. The House noted 5 vandalism incidents reported by the Transmission Company of Nigeria since February, resulting in power outages that disrupt socio-economic activities. The lawmakers emphasized the need for a comprehensive security strategy involving the National Security Advisor, the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, and other agencies to protect these vital infrastructure. They also tasked the TCN with sensitizing local communities on the importance of safeguarding public infrastructure and urged the Ministry of Power to expedite repairs to the damaged lines. A joint committee was mandated to ensure swift compliance with these protective measures. And then we look back at the heading talking about the reps decrying vandalization of power infrastructure. This, I don't want to say, is something that happens almost every day in different parts of the nation. But I'd like to bring in Kenneth Izzy on this one first. Kenneth, your thoughts, please.
Okay. It's funny though, but the people that have the powers to protect this are crying, and for first sentence, what you said, they're trying to get drones and technology to monitor these things. Well, it's good that they take technology down. You know, they are thinking of how to use scientific methods to ensure that they protect these things. But you know, they really need to make the citizens understand that these things that they are destroying are actually theirs. You know, that is the thing I keep saying. We should ensure that we carry the people along. This government should be a people-based government. When people feel thinking, I need to make sure that these things are safe. You know, in this century, we cannot be thinking of vandalization of public property now. I think it's look back civilization. The civilized nation, civilized people as their properties because they know that this is our thing. These things are made there for our own convenience. These things are made there to help us live a better life. These are there to have social amenities, you have a good living, you have a good life, you comfortable, you can go several ways. But let's putting drones and CCTV camera. If you come to Enugu now, once you are entering Enugu, we have CCTV camera monitoring you. You know, once you come, we know that okay, you're in town, you're into Enugu. So they should have the CCTV cameras placed in strategic locations, right? They should have drones. They should have a rapid response team. Then the citizens need to have emergency lines of this rapid response squad, right? So whatever vandalization is going on, whatever that they notice, then the citizens also need to be aware and to be assured that yes, once they are put their call on these government operatives, these security operatives, that they are able to respond and respond quickly. So it should be more people-based. I don't see why the reps should be crime-based, or it's not something that is what they are things they should think about.
You say you don't see why reps are doing what? Discussing this topic?
Yes.
But this is don't you think this is important?
I didn't get to say what.
Don't you think this is important? It affects the people, and these are people that are representing the people. So if they don't talk about the issues that affect the people, then what else would they talk about?
They should be talking about solutions right now. They should be talking
That's
about
what they have recommended, the drones and the CCTV cameras. Do you think they are viable? You mentioned that when you come in, please hold on. You mentioned that when you come into Enugu, you have CCTV cameras in strategic places to monitor people. Did I get that right? That's what you said, right?
Yeah.
So you have CCTV cameras on the roads in Enugu?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So this is a major.
How viable is this recommendation by the House of Reps? The CCTV cameras in all of these infrastructures where they are located, and then the drones to monitor with our system here. How viable do you think that would be?
It's very viable. It's feasible. It can happen. When what going on in school, we have this. Is it Big Brother is watching you, or the forgotten later right way. So that fear that stop God is watching you.
All right, Kenneth, thank you. Let's get to hear from Loveday. Your thoughts on this one. Talking about the blackouts, I was in Bielsa last week, and I heard from the residents that it's been 4 months they've not had lights in the whole of Bielsa.
Wow.
Some people said, oh, it's close to 4 months. Some people said, oh, just a little bit over 4 months. But around that, in the whole of the state. In fact, when I went to the bank, I was the lady was like, no, we know there's no light in Bielsa, so she had to give us some sort of, relief on something. I can't remember what that was now. But that is the case. And then the area where I stayed, I realized that these guys that walk around with pushing wheelbarrows and all of that, they go to these places to steal these things. And they've been doing it, when you're stealing you're relaxed because there's no light, there's no power that'll come to that thing until you're done and you leave. So you're very okay doing what you're doing. And that is a big problem in different parts of the nation at the moment. So with these recommendations by the House of Reps, how do you see these recommendations?
Okay, the recommendation for me is commendable. You know, I always say it's better late than never. Even if it's somehow, I see it to be coming very late, and shocking too that up till now, the TCN, Nigerian transmission company, and all the allied agencies that has to do with power does not have a system that monitors what goes on along a major transmission line. Is a minus for us as a nation. Is a minus for us. However, you know, at times I do tell people that there are some problems that I refer to as problems of upliftment. There are some challenges you have, wake-up challenges. The challenges will quicken you, you know, will revive you, and then you begin to do what ordinarily you wouldn't have done. I think that's the case here. That's the case here. For the past how many years, technology has been advancing, and on our power sector, we do not have drones, we do not have CCTV.
Is this viable? Lovely.
Yeah.
Let's look at that system.
Now the viability is, let me use the word, it can be viable if the government decides to do what is needed. You see, one thing with our system is at times we just do the things that we see developed countries or other people do without, you know, digging deep, understanding our terrain, our environment, our society, and then do something that is compatible, that our people can understand and manage. If you put a system that is too sophisticated, that the level of those to manage it have not gotten to that point, and they lack the requisite training or skills, the system will collapse. But once you do it, having those that will man it trained, and then get something that they also understand, have their own idea. I believe we have engineers, we have technicians in that particular sector. You work with them. You know, this system of top-bottom approach in carrying out some developmental projects and things that benefit the masses is a major problem in our country. Just like Ken talked about, if the people are being sensitized, if the people are aware, are part of the project ab initio, it's difficult. Even a madman will not want to spoil his own house, because the madman knows, except that madness has gotten to another level.
But look at the people that are doing these things now. It's not the residents, or it's these boys.
Yeah.
And some of them are not educated. They can't even read, even if you have inscriptions on the wall.
Sure, I will come to that. That's part of it. But believe me, it will be quite difficult for some of these boys to also penetrate without. I've had that experience before in my area, and one of the guys were caught. You know, by the time investigation started going on, you discover that a very prominent personality, though not from that area, but reside within that particular area, was one that, you know, brought in those boys that were behaving like mad people, and they vandalized a whole community transformer. And the community was in blackout for like 2 years or thereabout. You know, so that's the point. It has to do with a people. If the people are well sensitized, if the people are well informed that this thing is your own, if government makes the people understand that this project we are doing here is not government project, it's not government money, it's your money, we are using your money to do it. And once the people buys into that, or the people are the ones that initiated it, and then the government now sees them to implement it, even a child passing and sees something that is not supposed to be happening around that area will raise alarm. But majority of the things, the government properties, or the public property, not the government property, now public properties, people, majority of Nigerians sees it as government thing, those in power, without realizing that it is ours. Now, coming to the area of these hoodlums, we cannot dismiss the fact that in some areas, some of these boys just go about, you know, vandalizing some of this. Now, when you look at it from that perspective, you also see the issue of that lacuna in terms of power supply. If we have regular power supply like we should have, how will a normal person, you know, want to attempt? Currently, as I'm talking to you now, the transformer I use has been vandalized. I don't also have light in my area. You know, they went there. We had light that particular day till around 4:30 a.m. in the early hours of the morning, and then before it was done, we discovered light came. We discovered that there was no light. We got to the place. There is what they call feeder pillar. the whole feeder pillar has been. So now, if you critically look at, analyze what has transpired, it's difficult to also, separate those that supplies the power, those that work as the power station. You begin to think, how come is within that 2 hours or 1 hour 30 minutes that the power was disrupted, that the transformer was vandalized? So the thing is a very serious issue, and that is why one of the ways to solve this problem is constant power supply. People should find it difficult. People should not be able to predict when light will come and when the light goes. Like in my area, you know that once it's so and so time, we're going to have light. And from so and so time, there will be not. So somebody can get in there and do anything. So it also bounces back to the government. Those that are supposed to ensure that these facilities are being utilized are in a very good working condition 24/7. Right. So once that is done, the issue of vandalism or vandalization of some of these of our power lines and systems will be reduced. Now, going back to the reps, talking about vandalization of power structure is a serious thing, and the government should take it very seriously. We are talking about security not being enough. That takes us back to the issue of security again, because we need people that that are supposed to monitor these lines, these major power lines. There should be a security patrol team responsible for some of those areas that they have been recording this high level of vandalism or vandalization. Now, the government should ensure that there are patrol teams that are monitoring those lines in addition to what they have already proposed to do. But there is one that we have, and that is security personnel. So security personnel should be attached to those areas. I know what I passed through in my office too, when we had, there was a publication that the national grid was done and all of that. For that 2 or 3 days, we saw hell going by the current price of petrol. All of these things are contributing to the hardship and difficulty in survival rates that Nigerians are experiencing. So there should be security personnel attached to those lines 24/7. If that will also
increase the bill.
No, not about the bill. Now, don't go there.
Because they have mentioned it. I remember we had a guest here who said they've been having this case of vandalism over and over again in their streets, their area, their estates. So they had to mention it to these festivals, and they told them, can you people pay for security? If we add that to your bill, can you pay for security?
No, they don't have to. That's where our government needs to come in. These things, there should be partnership. We know that power system has been privatized, sort of, but the issue of security should be provided by the government. That's why the government, there is no how you will expect consumers, you increase the bill, the tariff, because consumers are demanding for security. That's where our government has to come in, increase the security system or personnel, and then attach them to these
all right, thank you, Loveday. At this point, we'll go on a short break, and after that, the conversation will definitely continue. Please stay with us.
The people of Maiduguri need your help. A catastrophic flood has engulfed the city, leaving over 1 million residents stranded and fighting for survival. Entire communities are submerged, with people trapped inside homes and on rooftops cut off from food, clean drinking water and essential supplies. Health experts are warning of a potential outbreak of deadly diseases, and medical facilities are out of commission. The situation is dire. Helicopters, boats and high-riding trucks capable of navigating the treacherous, waterlogged areas are urgently required to reach the countless men, women and children still awaiting rescue. The Nigerian media is issuing a desperate plea to the government, humanitarian organizations, international actors and citizens across the nation. Step in now, before it's too late. For more information on how you can help, contact Professor Usman A. Tar, the Honorable Commissioner for Information and Internal Security, Borno State, on 0809-233-3955. Every second counts.
This is powered by Atlantic Television Network.
We appreciate you for staying right here with us. Let's move on to our next story. The federal government has filed a 6-count charge against 9 individuals accused of publishing false information on October 16, claiming that the Department of State Services, that's the DSS, has laid siege to the National Assembly over efforts to impeach Senate President Godswill Akpabio. Filed on October 21, the charge marked all of that names the incorporated trustees of Order Paper alongside key staff, including founder Oke Ekpia and 4 others as defendants. The allegations include cyber defamation, publishing false news with the intent to cause public fear, and defamation under the Criminal Code Act. The prosecution claims that Order Paper and its agents knowingly published false and defamatory statements, harming the reputations of the DSS and Akpabio. The defendants face charges under various sections of Cybercrime Act 2015 and the Criminal Code Act, but no arraignment date has been set yet. How do you think this will affect media reportage? Loveday.
This is a very serious situation. I have different divergent view to this story. First of all, I want to also call on reporters or the media personnel, before publishing or releasing any information, do your best to ensure that that particular information is authentic, is valid. You have proof, you are sure, before making it public. That's one. Then another area I like to look at is the promptness, the smartness, the speedy reaction of the Senate, in charging these media personnel or the media houses. Something that happened on the 16th. Of course, I read that news on social media, but I was unable to trace the source. I just read it passively and all of that. Now, from reports, it was aired on the 16th, and just 5 days, within 5 days interval, a court process is already on. And then a simple question comes to mind. If our lawmakers can be this active, how come on some other pertinent issues that has to do with the masses, that the masses are clamoring and then urging prompt response, they seem to exhibit some form of let me use the word, I don't care attitude, laissez-faire attitude to some of those issues. That shows us how self-centered, how selfish, how insensitive some of our government personnel, are. Like I said earlier on, it is not a good one. False information is something that should be discouraged. It should be discouraged. But the speed, the rate at which they are addressing the issue, we read about 9 count charges or so on this particular thing. That's it. The Senate have done well, but I'm also aware that that particular information came from a source. Before the spreading of that information, I'm sure the Senate, each of the law legislature has, legislative arm of government, I'm sure they have their approved media personnel, and no information goes out of that particular system without it being published or released to the public or to brother or sister media houses or colleagues by that their personnel. So
you're saying there's no smoke without fire?
Definitely, that's my point. So if a good investigation is to be made, and sincere one for that matter, I want to believe that before that information was released, something must have been going on or something must have happened internally. And then outside that, let me also seize this medium to appeal to the Senate, to the lawmakers, to tamper justice with mercy. Right. Because no one is above mistake. We can still recall, even our Senate President, Senator Akpabio, there was a time he also made a statement that was heard everywhere, and we now heard that there's a prayer request that was sent to your mail, things like that. And I'm also aware, very recently, there was a trending statement also by our distinguished Senator Akpabio, that why they are suffering, why they are crying, we were enjoying, we are chopping. What we do not know is if that was fabricated, if it was what's the word now? If that was a product of photoshopping or video editing and all of that, but we didn't get any counterclaim, against that particular statement. So that statement, I know what that statement cost Nigerians, especially myself. I was surprised. I said, wow, if my Senate President can make this kind of statement, people are lamenting, people are crying, Nigerians are dying, right. And then my Senate President is now making this kind of... So nobody is above mistake or using words inappropriately. But once it is done, I think there should also be room for consideration and then check if the person has some form of remorse and all of that. So I want to quickly appeal to the Senate. Once there is an apology, what I was expecting was to give a time frame, for the person, the source, to now release a statement, trying to tell the people that the statement that was initially released was unverified, it was false, and once that is failed to, once he or she failed to do that, then the court process can then commence.
Kenneth, you're also in the media space, if not broadcast, social media space, all right? So you understand what this means, putting out information that could be defamatory or maybe false or something like that to the image of an individual. So with the step that is being taken against this journalist and the report by the journalist and the whole scenario, I would like to get your thoughts on it. Okay, when we have Kenneth, we'll definitely have his thoughts on that particular story. But there's so much that is being said ever since this story has been like a series.
Yeah.
We've been having updates on it over and over again. But Lovely, when you look at social media, there's so much information out there. And it got to a point where, although this is broadcast we're talking about, but it got to a point where people started putting out various kind of information. It felt like nobody was checking anything anymore. You understand? So that's why I asked you when we started, how do you think this whole scenario, what is going on, will get to affect media reportage? Both social media, broadcast. Okay, we have Kenneth. Kenneth is back. Kenneth, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can also. Please, let's have your thoughts on this story on the reportage and Akpabio.
Yeah. Thank you. First thing, I think this is a chance. I want to know if they are whistleblowers or if they're actually doing their job, because I know the media is the first arm of government. You cannot just come and make statements like that has not been founded on truth. Okay, before somebody makes the Senate president is not an ordinary person. You see, that is why they go into swift action to make sure that they are being prosecuted. And there is something about having a regional source from the government's house or from this government. So whatever thing, journalists should be given maybe a press conference or a press release where from time to time they can ask questions about what is happening. Okay, but this looks like the journalists are just sounding a warning, telling us that they want to impeach the Senate President Akpabio. So there should be an action taken or what? Okay, I don't think that is really their duty or their business.
Whose business now?
In the same country. Can you hear me?
You don't think you don't think that is the business of the journalists?
Yeah, actually, what I'm saying, why I said that is this sounds like a whistle blowing to me.
Okay.
You get before making such report, this should be founded on true information.
Okay.
You can't just talk about impeachment of the third person in the country and we expect it to be handled with a kid's gloves. No. So information is power. Information is key. This is very misleading. And two, the solution to this is that from time to time the government should be having press conferences with the media. Yes, with the media. If there are some questions, if there are some suspicions that they are not really
clear about,
it should be asked, it should be brought up. Then the air should be clear. Okay? So please, I know they have already pleaded for clemency, there should be pardon, but the media houses should be very, 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 very careful with the information they release out there. Okay, they should know that their job is very, very sanctimonious, very, very important. Whatever information they're releasing out, we all know, yes, but saying that the Senate President wants to be impeached and the BSS are there to go, why are you telling the citizens now to go to Senate and or you have important information, make sure you take this out reportedly to the public.
Thank you.
I think they are meddling with trivialities. They are not making, they are minoring on the major and majoring on the minor to me. Thank you.
All right, thank you for your thoughts on that one, Kenneth. And let's move on to the next story. The federal government has clarified that the Ministry of Niger Delta Development has not been scrapped, but renamed the Ministry of Regional Development. This change was part of a recent cabinet reshuffle by President Bola Tinubu aimed at accelerating the administration's renewed hope agenda. The restructured ministry will now oversee agencies that were under the former Ministry of Niger Delta Development, as well as other regional commissions across the country. The government assured that the Niger Delta Development Commission, as the NDDC, will continue to operate under the new ministry, and the change mainly involves expanding the ministry's responsibilities rather than eliminating it. Get that right. The decision has met the criticism from some leaders in the Niger Delta, such as Chief Edwin Clark, who expressed concerns about potential marginalization and the redirection of resources away from the region. The government, however, has emphasized that the new framework is intended to enhance regional development efforts and maintain all existing structures for the Niger Delta. Loveday, please comment on this one.
It's quite difficult to reconcile the two. That the Ministry of Niger Delta, that's Niger Delta Ministry, is not has not been scrapped.
Yes.
And then the establishment of the Regional Development Ministry, or the South.
It's the same ministry. They just changed the name. What
That's what we're saying now. From my major confusion is, once you have Niger Delta, we have states that makes up the Niger Delta. And then you're not talking about regional. South is a region. Am I correct? South is a region in Nigeria. Now, he said the new ministry is to oversee what happened. Then Niger Delta ministry is to work under the regional ministry. Is for me, I see conflicting.
The NDC, yes.
Yes, I see conflicting interests at the end of the day. And then my major worry, South Development Commission, I'm sure that's the one now that is overseeing the NDDC, the Niger Delta Development Commission. That's the regional ministry now. If that is it, and if the name will really apply, it simply means that it's 6 states that they will be covering, whereas the Niger Delta Development Commission was overseeing. So how do you now, how do we reconcile this? And how do you want to convince me that that of the Regional Development Ministry now is now increasing, or that it will now help to increase the mandate or the responsibility of the Niger Delta Development Commission?
But that's supposed to oversee the different regions.
The different regions, yes, in Nigeria.
No, the different regions where you talk about the Niger Delta.
You see, that's where the confusion will really come in. That's where the confusion will really come in. I see it like a duplication of commission or ministry.
It's the same ministry, Lofty. So it's just more like the same entity still playing its roles, but then the name was changed.
Okay. Now talking about the name, which is the next thing I want. That's the explanation they release. That's the explanation they are giving, but the explanation is confusing. It's confusing myself, as a person. It's confusing me seriously. But let's forget about the idea and what the ministry should be doing. Now, talking about the name, the change of name, how does that improve the activities of the NDDC? How does that enhance what the people have been clamoring for? Because I was also made to understand that the same person, the NDDC, is still intact. The same persons manning the activities of the same persons in charge of different offices, they are still there. And then the people have been lamenting, saying, scrap NDDC, we are not getting the direct benefit that we're supposed to get from. And then we are now seeing a system where the name has been changed. For me, I don't see anything.
Expected more.
I don't see anything significant, coming, or anything positive coming as a result of the change of name. All I see is some form of, hidden political agenda that will soon be unveiled as time progresses.
All right, Lovely. Thank you so much for your thoughts on that one. With all of the rejig that happened, which we discussed on the show yesterday, one thing that I'd really love us to talk about, since I have two agri-experts with me, is the introduction of the livestock ministry. As some people have clamored, although we were told the importance, we were told that it will help to reduce the cases that we have of the farmers and herders clash, and that particular livestock adds a lot to our economy because of the meat and all of the other products that are being sold, the end products and all of that. But I'd like to get your opinion on this, Kenneth, on the ministry that was announced. That's the livestock ministry.
Well, it's a good one. It's a good one. It shows that actually the government they are really thinking about the welfare of farmers and they're thinking about the welfare of their citizens because of the farmers' header clash. So the ministry is the thought pattern is good, but I think they would have saved that energy if they had mandated the Ministry of Agriculture. Okay, they have the federal and the state ministries of agriculture. So bringing on the Ministry of Livestock again is not good.
All right, it's not clear on the other side, on Kenneth's side, but from what he was saying and his last statement, he was talking about the fact that we should have just channel that energy to enhancing the Ministry of Agriculture instead of bringing another ministry. Since we're talking about cutting costs in governance, putting up another ministry, it's more like bringing out the different sectors that we have or departments that we have in the Ministry of Agriculture, and then forming ministries for them. Do you also have the same school of thought?
Yeah, in retrospect.
Okay, sorry to cut you. It looks like Kenneth is back.
Yes, so sorry about that. What I'm saying is that things are one. Creating the Ministry of Livestock and Ministry of Agriculture, what is the difference? To what purpose? To what aim? Is it that the Ministry of Agriculture cannot actually handle the livestock affairs? Because we have in agriculture, we have both animals, we have both crops and livestock, right? The Ministry of Agriculture now will not be more focused on what living the life as livestock. So they should manage this thing. I think it's just publicity of names, and I don't. It actually doesn't really, solve the problem. If they actually want to solve the farmers' headers plan, which I believe was the sole purpose of that ministry, they should give more responsibilities to the Ministry of Agriculture, the federal and the state level too.
Okay.
So that's my take on that.
So give more responsibilities to the Ministry of Agriculture, strengthen the livestock department in the Ministry of Agriculture. You were giving your thoughts on that.
Yes, in retrospect, by the introduction of this particular, the time this particular ministry was introduced, I was thinking that the ministry will actually enhance livestock production. But from then I've been undertaking some studies on this particular policy, and I've come to the realization that it's a simple duplication of ministries or responsibility. We have the Ministry of Agriculture. What should have been done is for the government to target livestock department. In the Ministry of Agriculture, we have livestock department. Target the livestock department there and then really work on, because what the government is actually laying hold on very seriously is the issue of herdsmen, and all of that. The issue of meat production, that's not the major, is the herdsmen issue. Now that would have come under the Department of Livestock, and then come up with policies, come up with initiative, how to address this herdsmen issue that is really affecting the livestock subsector, rather than creating Ministry of Livestock Development or Production. So for me, I am seeing it to be a duplication of ministry, and it will really affect the Ministry of Agriculture. The reason I said it will affect the Ministry of Agriculture, if time is not taken because of how things are done in this country and by experience, attention will be moved depending on the president, that the zone that produces the president. If the president comes from a zone that does more in terms of crop production, maybe my area is known for crop production, maybe I will leave the Ministry of Livestock Production or Livestock Development and probably create another ministry of crop production to boost that area. So I'm seeing it that this thing has political undertone. If not well harnessed, it will keep will keep proliferating ministries, and at the end of the day will increase the cost of governance that we're also trying to cut down. So if you watch critically, you discover that there is a particular zone, there's a particular region of the country that is known for livestock production. So let it not be that this particular move to creating this ministry is being initiated and is originating from that particular zone. If it is so, in no distant time, everything will play out. It will be reviewed, and once a president comes from another zone, believe me, that president will also create that ministry that favors what the area produces.
Thank you so much, Loveday, for your thoughts on this one. That's Loveday Oporum, the coordinator of the Agri-Graduate Association of Nigeria, River State Chapter. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And we also had Kenneth Eze, the Enugu Young Farmers Association president and founder. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
All right, big thanks to you for being part of this conversation. Remember to stay connected with us on ATN socials, Facebook, YouTube, Atlantic Television Network, Instagram, TikTok, Atlantic TV Network 1, X, Atlantic TV Net, and on our website at www.atlanticnetwork.tv. Have it in mind always that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. My name is Enidoye Jackson. Thank you for watching. Coming up next is Open Conversation. Stay with us on ATN.